Hey guys and girls, if you like listening to more stories, don't forget to check out my favorite podcast, which of course is The Crab Feast. 5 stars, The Crab Feast, Ryan Sickler and Jay Larson. And please check out our newest addition to the family, About Last Night, with our good friends, Brad Williams and Adam Ray. Check those out too. Now here's some free stuff. With summer in full swing, there are a lot of places we want to go. Post office, not one of them. Driving there, parking, waiting for a clerk, standing in line. It's a hassle. It stinks. Use Stamps.com instead. My friends, with Stamps.com, anything you would do at the post office, you could do right from your desk. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any envelope, any package, any class of mail, at any time. Just use what you already have, your own computer and printer. Stamps.com makes it easy and convenient. It's like having a postal expert available 24/7 whenever you need it. You will never have to go to the post office again unless you just want to go and pick up dudes. That's what I do. That's why I go to the post office. It ain't for stamps because I use Stamps.com. Right now, use my last name, Mohr, M-O-H-R, for this special offer. No risk trial, $110 bonus offer. That includes a digital scale, up to $55 free postage. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. Click on the microphone at the top of the home page and type in Mohr, M-O-H-R. That's Stamps.com. Enter Mohr. Stay tuned for a 5th degree black belt. William Huff Jr., he wrote the book, Bullies Suck. So does going to the post office. Beep.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game change.
Donuts.
If you want a battle, it's either that you will or you won't.
You know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Bullies suck. A friend of mine has a friend of mine who's a friend of mine. I know a guy that knows a guy that said, you should have William Huff Jr. on your podcast. He just wrote a book called Bullies Suck. Here you are. First of all, this is cool. I like the book. I dug it. And it's high time somebody put out a how-to guide to have your kids say, hey, fuck off, bully, without gouging their eyes out in a fit of rage and going to jail.
Right on.
Well done. William Huff Jr., my friends, is the guest. Welcome back to More Stories, Fake Mustache Studios. Business first, August 16th, Pabst Theater in Milwaukee. August 17th, Royal Oak Theater in Detroit. People say all the time, how often do you come to Milwaukee? Well, I'll know the next day, because if you guys don't fill it, it's a one-off, because the promoter will say, never again. I lost my shirt when Jay Mohr was here. August 16th, Pabst Theater in Milwaukee. August 17th, Detroit, Royal Oak Theater. August 3rd, me and the Iceman, Adam Carolla, Wiltern Theater here in Los Angeles. There's no reason for you guys not to do this. Also, hit up the Amazon banner. Go to jmohr.com and click the Amazon banner and tweet me, or I should say email me, don't tweet me, at jmohr.com, and I will read what you bought. JJ ordered some new bike tires today, $95. Not a house full of big screen TVs, but it's a start. Decided to start riding my mountain bike again. I took to heart your statement. I see a lot of old smokers, but I've never seen an old fat guy. Very true, JJ. I thought I was listening to Stewie Griffin the entire podcast with Steve Lillywhite. It was driving me nuts. If Seth MacFarlane ever needs a vacation, Steve Lillywhite, you could step in for sure. Great podcast. Thanks for doing it for free. Oh, look at this guy. See you at Royal Oak, Michigan. Bradley J. Betts, my man, he's coming. I had no idea that was there when I read the ad. Bradley, thank you, my brother, and thanks for clicking the Amazon banner at jmohr.com. William Huff, what made you decide, Bill?
Bill's fine, yeah.
Friend of Bill's? What decided, what makes a guy who, first of all, you're a 5th degree black belt. Do you look at black belts like pussy?
Pretty much.
Really?
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
What do you? I don't understand. It seems like black belt, and forgive me because I don't really know anything about martial arts. I just know the belts in my own son's dojo. You're a
Right.
friend of my son's, Sensei Herzog.
Right.
Great man, role model for a kid's life.
Yeah, awesome individual.
And do you teach as well?
I am retired from teaching now. I did for 18 years.
That's great. And it's important because there's so many dads that listen to this podcast, and moms too, obviously. But I can't be the only guy telling my kid, no, that's wrong, do it again. So when you meet two other guys in a dojo twice a week, you go, oh, my God, you can tell him he's screwing up.
That's right.
This is great. Please, and I even said to both of them, please do me a favor. Put your foot in his ass a little bit, you know? And they go, oh, my God, we wish more dads would tell us that. We get the opposite. Did you find that teaching karate? The parents are like, why are you so hard on my son?
No, I had a blend. I mean, a lot of them, when they started with me, they knew I used to be in the Marines. I was a former Marine, so I kind of told them up front, look, I'm kind of a drill instructor with the kids here, so this is how it is around here. And, they were warned about it, and they were like, okay, that's fine. I had a couple people like, yeah, you need to back it off. But for the most part, they were fine with it. A lot of the times, the parents were bringing the kids to us because, hey, I'm tired of yelling at them all the time. You know how it is. When you say the same thing to your kid 5,000 times, pretty soon they're not listening to you anymore. But somebody else says the exact same thing, and they're like, oh, my God, boy, I better listen. And you just want to go, eh. Maybe it's because somebody else said it,
Well, you were also just doing sword play right before they saw you.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
that could be it.
They see you all sweaty holding two swords. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, you got it, Sensei.
Yeah, so it's a lot of times, like I said, the parents would bring them to us, and they're like, look, we want you to be hard on him. Please help us out. We're like, right on, we can do that.
Were you bullied as a kid?
I was, yeah.
You suffered molestation as a kid.
I did when I was
What
about
was
4.
Excuse me?
When I was about 4.
I had this discussion with my wife. We were watching, I think it was a Dr. Phil episode of all things, who we love. And somebody got molested as a child, and we were trying to figure out what's the cutoff age where you can really turn the page and act like it never happened. Or is there one? Like at 4, do you have a visceral response when you think about the person that molested you?
No, my story's unique. I mean, I don't know what other people are like as far as who've gone through that. But I know for me, I was in my, I was probably late 30s. Maybe I just turned 40. But I was at an event, a seminar. We were doing self-development stuff, mental exercises, this kind of stuff. And we did an exercise where, long story short, is you were supposed to kind of play a movie of your life backwards kind of deal and go back as far as you could remember. And I did the thing, and I'm like, okay, this is cool, and I'm learning things as I go. And then towards the end of the exercise, I got this vivid memory come back and the emotions that came with it and everything of the event. So it was like it was there, but I had kind of blocked it off. Hadn't really remembered it. And then all of a sudden it was there, complete with the emotions and the details and everything, and I knew who the guy was. He lived across the street from my parents. I remembered the whole thing like it was yesterday.
And you're in a room of people.
I'm in a room of people,
So you're having this overwhelming, visceral response right here, overflowing out of you. Probably want to just go someplace and cry. But you're in complete mixed company at a big seminar. It's not like
I was
you're home alone.
Like the second table back on the end so everybody could see me, So I'm trying to hold it together. The shoulders are shaking because you're trying not to bawl out loud. That's embarrassing. And that was the second to the last night, so I had to go up to the hotel room that night and kind of process everything. That took a while. And then, but for me, I was like, well, boy, that sure answers a lot of things about my personality, my quirks, my strengths, why I'm certain ways, why I'm having challenges with this. And then it tied into when I got bullied in high school. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's why, so it kind of, to me, it was a good thing because it connected a lot of dots, and I was able to start really going, okay, all this stuff is connected, and, this happens, and this happens, and, energetically and things in your mind and your self-image and everything. And then that develops your personality. Your self-image is like a computer program, like a Mac OS X or whatever. It runs in the background automatically without you thinking about it. Well, if it's got a bug and you don't know about it and you don't have antivirus, your computer's not going to work right. That's why people are like, I'm really going to stop doing this. And then the next day they do that. And they go, man, why can't I stop doing that? Well, it's got nothing to do with your willpower. It's got to do with your freaking computer program up here.
Yeah.
And all that stuff's connected. And that's why I started working on that, and that's why I put that together and expanded it and been working on it for so long. And so I wrote a first copy of that 4 or 5 years ago.
Bullies Suck, How to Stop Bullying and Cyberbullying at School, at Work, and at Home. William Huff Jr. You can go to jmohr.com, click the Amazon banner, and buy his book. I really liked it, and I'm going to talk a lot about the contents of the book. But going back to that, because the question remains, I'm sure this has crossed your mind. The human condition is fascinating. The way human beings can be so cruel is so deplorable, but also fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And the way we can love is so beautiful and fascinating. But the survival mechanism, do you think your body at 4 just shut it down? Like, close it up, bury it, put it under the rug, nothing to see her? And
Move
for
along.
me to succeed, I have to just act like this never happened. I know at 4.5, you're not acting like it never happened, but at maybe 7, it crosses your mind when you're playing your. I guess when you were playing, I have so many questions about this. Do you think the body shuts things? We know it from like Vietnam vets and stuff like that. Does the body just shut memories out?
Sure.
First marriages. Does the body just shut?
No, those linger because of the checks. Yeah.
No, I remember nothing. I get asked like, "Well, what kind of music did she like? What was the favorite food?" I don't know. And I'm not lying. I don't know. Maybe because I wasn't present either.
Right. Yeah.
It is fascinating to me. Do you think there's something in our brains and in our souls that shuts down those damaging, brutal memories in order for us to go forward?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the brain shut it off for me as far as the memory of it until, like I said, I was late 30s or late 40s. I mean, I remember
35 years.
Perfect story. I had to tell my mom and dad about this before it came out because I didn't want them reading about it and going, "What are you talking about?" with the whole molestation thing. They knew about me being bullied in high school, but they didn't know anything about the molestation deal. So I'm on the back patio with my pops, and I was like, "Dad, I kind of need to talk to you about something." I go, "But before I do, let me ask you a question." I go, "What was I like as a kid?" Because I wanted to see if he'd talk to me about it. And he said, "You were the happiest kid, the most fun, always laughing, always smiling." He goes, "You were great." He goes, and then right around age 4, he goes, "You just got angry." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "When I remember, I got kicked out of kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, and 3rd grade. I got expelled from 2 private schools. My dad says you've never lived until," what was his name? Sister Margaret, was like, "Hey, you know what? You're invited not to come back." And my dad's like, "But wait, I'm paying you money." They're like, no, you can go.
You can keep the check.
Yeah, you can keep the check. And he goes, "I don't know what happened, but around age 4, he goes, you got really violent and really angry. And it didn't stop until about 4th or 5th grade. Well, 4th grade, I got put into public school, met a teacher that I really liked, Mr. Matthews. Never forget him. But that coincided with what I remembered about age 4. So, yeah, maybe the brain shut down the memory part, but apparently the emotions and all the stuff that went with it, maybe that's part of what was going on because I remember getting in fights all the time and constantly being in trouble and all that good stuff."
Were you groomed by your molester, like Oprah says? Like you get groomed for it?
I don't know. I just remember they were a couple that lived across the street. They had a daughter that was my age, and after school, my parents were working, so I'd come home and I'd go over to their house after school. And Laura was her name. I remember her. She was pigtails with freckles. I remember her like it was yesterday. And but I don't know. I mean, I don't really remember much about him except kind of the incident. That's it. So I don't know.
I'm stunned, and the reason I'm choosing my words carefully is because I'm trying to process the human body shutting something down for 30 years. Now, when you see people that sort of have it as there's some people that are victims in life. Mm-hmm. They're not true victims, but that's their position.
Their gig. Yeah.
That's their gig.
Right.
And it sickens me. And it's my wife and I talk about this all the time. My wife says, if you look at a woman in the mall, she's most likely been raped by somebody.
Wow.
I mean, and I think the numbers are 1 in 3 of women have been, inappropriately by a relative or somebody. Like that's statistic. Those are the women that talk about it,
right.
that are willing to answer a survey honestly. What is it about these people with the inability? What's more healthy to be a victim and talk about it and turn the page, or bury it and then rediscover it? I mean, there is no right way to do this, and I'm floundering and trying to ask a salient question.
Well,
I'm sorry. My point initially was like, boy, the people. I wanted my initial thought. The spark of it was, then these people that cry victim all the time must really bother you.
It depends upon how much they're in my life.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
And by your reaction, that's why I pulled the question.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's a weird way to go.
Yeah, and I'm like, but let's see. I'm not going to use that person because they're real close. for some people, being a victim becomes their identity, and it's their.
Those are the ones I speak
their
about.
blanket, yeah. And I don't know. I mean, for me, being a martial artist and everything else, and I know you're a big UFC fan too. I'm a UFC freak. I think it was Chael Sonnen, who I freaking love. He said, I think it was him who said this quote. He goes, "Hey, you know what? Hands up, chin down, walk towards a guy and kick his ass." Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I jumped up and I wrote it down, and I'm like, that is the perfect attitude, because for me, I can't speak for everybody else, but for me, when I get good, and for lack of a better word, my coach tries to tell me not to do this, but when I get good and pissed off about something about myself, or I want something so bad that I'm pissed, right?
Yeah.
That's when it's like, yes. And then you go, you know what? Hands up, chin down, go kick it, go get it. Let's go. Let's take care of this thing. Let's handle it. Because I've been the other side. I mean, I don't know about other people, but I don't know about you, but people every day get bullied by something. There's something about yourself you don't like, or, and you're like, oh, gee, man, and it's like, you know what? If people can just catch themselves and go, wait a minute, all right, I'm whining about it, or I feel it took my power away, or whatever. The big thing that I talk about, it's like, well, go take it back.
Right.
Go take it back. He took my lunch money. Well, go get it back.
Yeah, well, the problem is there's a giant fear if I go to take it back, this guy's going to pound my face into the cement.
Yeah, well, so what? I mean,
that's an interesting point.
So let's say you get your ass kicked.
Right.
Big deal.
That's the most when I finally caved in, like sophomore year in high school, and said, enough, we're fighting. Because I was bullied a lot, but because I ran my mouth, I earned it.
Right.
It wasn't like they just went, hey, look at the foreign exchange student, let's beat him up because his name's Hemmel.
Mm-hmm.
I got beat up because I would run my mouth and I was a wise ass. But then, it's a shadow that doesn't go away. Like, that's the guy. They're going to get him. They're going to get him. And, you start taking different ways home. You go to the bathroom a half hour before school gets out and just walk home early.
Go out the side at lunch instead of the main thing. Yeah,
But that only buys you like 4 days before they realize you're ducking them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it wasn't until someone really beat the shit out of me on the railroad tracks on Valley View Road, and I went,
yeah, you remember
but it was like, but that's not the most important part, Bill Huff. The most important part was when it was over, I went, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It's never as bad. No.
It's just getting punched in the face.
No.
And now I'm in 42, and I swear to you, with no machismo, I go, I wish I got more fights. I wish I went to every bully and every guy that went, you got a fucking eye problem? Just went, with no words, just smashed their nose in. And it would have legitimized my D average that I got without getting in any fights. They would have went, well, he gets in fights. He's kind of a troubled guy. What surprised me about your book, Bullies Suck, How to Stop Bullying and Cyber Bullying at School, at Work, and at Home, I kept waiting because it's basically a how-to book. Not basically, it is a how-to book of how to deal with bullies for kids and even for grown-ups and people in the workplace and on computers and things like that. And I kept waiting for the one chapter to go, I'm just fucking with you. Smash the guy's face in off the curb and walk away. But there's never that chapter.
No.
But between two guys, just us girls, you and I in a car driving to Vegas together, I'm pretty sure that would be how you would tell me to handle it personally. Is that because you didn't want to get sued from parents telling you?
Well, that's why there is a lot of disclaimers in the front.
A lot of disclaimers.
Yeah,
there's like 4
disclaimers.
pages of disclaimers.
Yeah, my attorney's like, hey, dude, you're going to put this in there, right? I'm like, yeah, I'll put it in there. Well, there is a chapter in the end. I think I called it "Be the Firstest with the Mostest." When you're cornered and there's nothing less to do. But you talk in a self-defense situation or bullying thing. The reality is, it doesn't matter if it's kids on a playground or if it's you and I out somewhere and somebody walks up and hey, you eyeball in the area? What, you got whatever. Standing up to the bully, does it mean ball up your fist and punch him in the face? Well, maybe. I mean, do you need to? Is he about to punch you? Did he grab you? I mean, one of the things that I can't stand, and it's just one of the ways it is, but everything is so politically correct now. The big beef I have, and it's everywhere, online media, everywhere. It seems like nobody feels like they have the permission to stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can't do that. I'll get in trouble. Oh, I can't do that. It's insensitive. Oh, well, what if he comes from an impoverished background? Or, well, maybe that guy's just having a bad day. I should just eat it and let him pick on me, and it'll be okay.
He doesn't know who his father is.
Yeah, yeah, whatever. And it's like, no. That's all bull. Yeah, that's crap. It's crap. Because you interviewed Ronda Rousey. I heard the podcast. Love her. Great story.
It's great.
Right? Great story. What a chick. And one of the things she said is like, you know what, there's only so much that you can let people mess with you before you start losing your self-respect. Well, I argue that every time you let somebody disrespect you or mess with you or whatever, it can put a little ding in your self-image or your self-confidence. And you don't have to be a jerk about it, but a perfect example, this happened with a client of mine. He gets on the phone, it's a long story, but he gets on the phone and he's all hot and he's yelling at me, right? And the reason why is not important, but he's yelling at me, right? And I'm like, you know what? It sounds like you're a little upset about something. He's like, well, I am, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, well, hey, let me see if I can fix it, blah, 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 right? I get off the phone. In 5 minutes, I'm stewing. I'm like, you know what? No. I go, I don't talk to people like that. I don't know what he's doing talking to me like that, and why didn't I say something? So it's bugging me, right? All night it's bugging me. Next morning I call him, hey, you at the office? He's like, yeah, I am. I go, I'm going to be there in a half hour. Don't go anywhere.
5th-degree black belt's coming over.
So I drove up there, and I'm like,
that
hey.
Marine guy?
I'm like, hey,
coming by
I
to
want to talk to you. This is important. I go, remember the thing you talked about yesterday? Well, here's why you got mad. I didn't get the message, blah, blah, blah. I go, but this is more important. I go, if I talk to you like that, you'd try to beat me up or fire me. I go, I don't appreciate you talking to me like that. In the future, I mean, we've known each other a long time. Don't talk to me like that. You got a problem, call me, but there's going to be no yelling and all this other stuff. It's not cool. And he was like, he was quiet, and he goes, you're right. Okay, sorry about that. And I felt like $1 million. I mean, how silly is that? I'm in my 40s, and I'm like, yeah, I told him, put him in his place, but it was something so small.
Really. You just said, these are my boundaries. You crossed them, and I'm to blame for not letting you know what my boundaries were.
Yeah, and I knew it was wrong because I couldn't sleep that night. I'm like, oh, you pussy. You should have told him. So
I studied.
You have to do that stuff.
Briefly, I was with this guy, Patrick Almanza, and it was self-defense. And I would say, no joke, 90% of what this guy taught was identifying and overriding. Because your own body, when you're at the ATM and a guy goes, hey, man, could you give me 15? You go, oh, no, it's okay. But we're wired to accommodate and to move on and to be a part of the herd. So when somebody at 2 a.m. comes to your car, you just go, no, it's okay. No, sorry, bro. You say sorry to the guy that's approaching you. Mm-hmm. And this guy, Patrick Almanza, when I say 90%, I mean, we never took the pads out and hit. It was like book learning and tests to override your own mentality to accommodate. And then at 1 a.m, if you're going to your car and somebody goes, hey, man, can I talk? Just drop him. And you are well within your rights because it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and anybody with a shred of spatial awareness goes from across the street, I need a little help. I don't want to roll up on you when you're next to your... Like, nobody just comes up to you.
Nothing good happens after midnight.
And at the ATM, like Chris Rock said, nothing good at the ATM happens
after
1 o'clock. That money's not going anywhere good. That's never gone to the college fund ever. So it's really weird. The mental part of it is...
That's the hardest part.
Yeah,
really.
and you get to the point where I guess at your job, somebody just barks at you all the time, and you don't want to make waves, and you don't want to get fired.
Right.
But a part of you, it's like chipping away a piece of your soul, and eventually you got to tell that guy, don't fucking talk to me like that.
Yeah. Well, how many people too are at a job and maybe someone's barking at them, or the boss is a bully or whatever else, but they don't say anything because they're afraid of losing the job. That's another thing that kills your self-image and self-esteem.
So what do you do? What's the line on bullying when it happens to a guy that's signing your checks, bro?
Well, how much is your self-esteem and your self-image worth?
Not worth my mortgage.
Not worth your mortgage?
I would do gay porn to get this house off my back.
And it's a nice one, too, by the way.
It is nice.
Yeah. It'd be a lot of gay porn you'd have to do.
I have NBA guys come in here and they go, man, you got 7-foot doors. And I'm like, I don't even know how much are doors usually.
Yeah. But the question becomes, so you do gay porn to do a mortgage, which is cool. Which is cool. That the mentality then becomes, all right. So is this the only gig in town? Is this the only job that you're capable of getting? I mean, do you really believe that?
I think Bill Huff Jr. A lot of people, yes.
Yeah, but again, now we're what is it?
If I'm a letter carrier,
Churchill or whoever, he said, you build these prisons in your head, and then you live inside them because you believe, oh, this is the only job I can get.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to press you on this because the only time I'll have this conversation with a 5th-degree black belt without saying, well, let's take it to the mats, buddy.
Yeah.
Sure. And you're right. And Churchill was right. However, if I'm a letter carrier and when I go back to the post office, the guy that's in charge of my route is up my ass, I can't tell that guy to go kick rocks because I'll get fired.
Right.
for my letter carrier job, and then what do?
Well, what are you going to do about it? Do you have to be a letter carrier? I got a buddy of mine who has a job that he has because his parents had it, and he got into it. And he doesn't even like it. He's 40-something, getting close to 50, and he's like, I don't even like this job. My body's breaking down. It's hard on me. And I keep going, well, do something else. He's like, I can't. I'm too old. Well, who says?
Yeah.
You can't learn something new on the side. You can't, get a part-time doing things somewhere. I mean, again, that's another example of giving your power away to something. Well, I'm just a letter carrier, so I have to take this guy's crap. No, you don't. You can do something about it if you believe you can, and if you
go
want
postal.
to. Yeah, you can go postal, which some people do. It's not. I'm not saying it's easy.
It's a great speech, but I think a lot, especially in today's economic world, there's a lot of people that live in like Valencia because they can't live in L.A. proper, or they live so far into the valley, just clinging to the outskirts of Los Angeles because they still got their fingernails on the edge of the San Fernando Valley going, well, these are two well-off guys that have their acts together. They don't have to worry about money. Like, it's very easy for these guys to say it. So that's I'm playing devil's advocate for the guy listening going, what the fuck am I going to do? I have a job at a warehouse. If I tell this guy to kiss off, I'm unemployed. Who's hiring at warehouses?
Well, check it out. Who says you got to tell the guy to kiss off? I mean, let's talk about what we're talking about here. So my point is you don't have to take that shit. Okay? But let's say you got to have that job. You need dough. Right, so you got to bridge the gap between the dough that is, this guy's giving you it up the ass, and you're tired of that dough, and you want to get dough somewhere else where you're not getting your self-esteem and self-image killed, but you got bills to pay, you got kids, I got kids, you got kids, you got a big house, right?
Call it a compound, but whatever.
Yeah, hacienda, right? No, haciendas have gates with guys with guns on the turrets, but you don't have that yet.
Yeah, that's
That's
Corolla.
coming.
That's Corolla territory.
Yeah, right.
One day,
so that
friend.
becomes, okay, well, in order for me to take my power back from this guy, I'm going to have to do what it takes, learn a skill, look for another job. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get to a position where I can come back to this guy and say, screw yourself. I got another job. I don't have to take this crap from you. See you later. Now, that might take 6 months. It might take 2 years. Who knows what it might take. But you can do it.
It's also what your parents, I just thought of this. Your parents always tell you as a child, well, don't let it bother you. Don't let it bother you. If they see that it bothers you. But as an adult, I can actually apply that as a grown-up, and I can turn it into my personal comedy. And like when Charles Bukowski wrote Post Office, to stick with the postal theme, it was just, everyone here is completely insane. This job's ridiculous. I'm going to go home. I'm going to get hammered, and I'm just going to go back after it tomorrow because I know what I'm doing is completely futile. Nothing matters at all. It's just a check so I can go to the track and get laid.
Right.
But it's almost, it's very hard, I think. This is a very great book, Bullies Suck, How to Stop Bullying and Cyberbullying at School, at Work, and at Home. And the cyberbullying, that's like brand new.
Yeah. That's a tough one, too.
What makes it seems like it's not because you can just not turn on your computer. Where you have to go to school, you have to go to work.
Right.
I have to go teach at a public school. My students are bullying me.
Right.
Whereas the computer, I can go, you know what? I'm not going to have a Facebook account where people can log on and tell me I suck.
Right.
Like my Twitter account right now, I've blocked thousands of people.
Oh, yeah?
So my Twitter now is just a beacon of love.
Yeah.
And
well, that's good that you can do that.
Yeah. And just anybody that says anything, even on the fence, just instant block.
Yep.
Even like, hey, I thought that movie was average. You're out.
You're out.
I come here to get my balls polished only. And that's what it's for.
Yeah.
I don't do Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff because it's just, I don't know. But it seems like cyberbullying, you said it's harder. And I'm asking, why is it harder when you can choose not to go on the computer except to do your own homework and check your emails?
It's harder because technology is everywhere now. I mean, everything. I mean, most of the kids learning at school now, a lot of their textbooks and stuff online. They have to go online to get this stuff. Peer pressure is a lot harder for the kids.
But you don't have to type in William Huff Jr. is an asshole.
Facebook. Yeah, exactly.
And so how many people like have a message board about you and your stupid face?
Yeah,
which is
and online's perfect for it because everybody. And that's another thing. Everybody's braver online.
My wife is the perfect example. I encourage all the listeners to just simply type in Nikki Cox. If you're at a computer right now, I'll let Bill take a peek here. Nikki Cox. Nikki Cox net worth. Now, you'll see, looks different
Let's see. Huge swollen lips. What the fuck did she do to her face? Cosmetic surgeries far from subtle. Plastic surgery disaster. Nikki Cox, what happened? Nikki Cox,
Fired.
bad surgery. Nikki Cox, bad surgery. Nikki Cox, lips. Now, is that cyberbullying? I preface this by saying, my hand to God on my son. I have 2 sons. On all 4 of their eyes, my wife has never had plastic surgery. So it's a complete mind fuck to finally get an iPad, finally open up the computer, and when you type in your own name, you go,
This is what you get.
oh my God, everybody thinks I suck as much as I already think I suck.
Right.
So this search is related to Nikki Cox, surgery disaster, fired. What happened? She used to be is that classified as cyberbullying?
No, it's not classified as cyberbullying. No, not in this realm here. Now, if she has a personal Facebook page and somebody personally sends that to her and is harassing her and everything else, yeah, that'd be cyberbullying.
It's really weird, right?
Yeah, this is just content that's out there, and Google's little algorithm suggests, hey, this is a lot of stuff out there written like that, so that's why it's popular.
Yeah.
But to go back to your point,
it's certainly it's changed.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you a funny story in a little bit.
Here's a photo, and for the listener, bear with us. And I'm looking at a hot chick, but we don't. I guess it's whatever. It's very strange, and they catch you coming out of the pharmacy eating a jar of cashews, and you look across with the sun in your eyes. You look across the lot, and they go, "What the fuck is that face?" So, all right, that's not cyberbullying, but I don't know what you can do, but she can choose to not go on the computer.
Well, with the kids, like we said, technology, it's into everything now. Yes, they can choose not to get one. Peer pressure, though, says, hey, everybody else has got one. Why don't you have one? Yeah. So that makes it hard for them. But cyberbullying, the problem with cyberbullying, a big thing I think is it's 24/7. It used to be, once you got inside your house and closed the door, bully couldn't come in, right? But now if you go on your Facebook or your Twitter or whatever social stuff you do, now you're in your bedroom and your heart's racing because somebody wrote something nasty about you. Well, unless you've got the tools mentally or the parents or whatever to train yourself right so that you understand the context and and go, all right, I understand the drill.
It took me I still fight it today.
Oh no, okay, funny story. So I had a martial arts product that I did years ago, and
horny goat weed.
Yeah, horny goat weed, and then the what is it? Snake penis. That's another one. By the way, I had ground snake penis in China. Supposed to be good for your yang chi. It was good.
And how was your yang chi after
my yang chi, I guess, was pretty good. I mean, so I had this martial arts product, and this guy writes me and he says, well, I'm a martial arts master, and I study this really amazing secret style that was taught to me by one person, handed down, standard thing. And he's like, I'm really interested in your product. Can he send it to me, and I want to review it? And I'm thinking to myself, oh, he said he ran a forum. I'm like, oh, okay, right on, right? First thing my coach who taught me the online business says, he goes, don't listen to these guys. Don't do it. Don't even go look in forums because it's a waste of time. People are just going to trash you. And I'm like, no, this one's different, right? So I send him the book. It takes me months to finally get a hold of the guy. And he's like, well, I didn't like it and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, let me send you this other thing that I've got. It's really good, right? I got the signature receipt. He got it at 10 o'clock in the morning. At 10:10 a.m., I got an email back. Oh, I didn't like it. It was terrible, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, it's like 200-something pages in 10 minutes. You went through 200-something pages of content, and you're telling me it's so I start looking around. Come to find out, I'm the dummy because this is a college kid living, no kidding, living in his parents' basement.
Yeah, that old
right?
gag.
But he's a martial arts right? And I'm just like, stupid, right?
But does he just seek people out to figure out who to fuck with? Like, I don't understand. Like, when I voluntarily go on this is a big mistake. I wasn't cyberbullied or anything like that. But, I'll go on a message board, and the big mistake was I would go on as JJ. I would go on as myself.
Oh, yeah, that'll get
and they would
killed.
figure out it was me.
Yeah.
And then they know everything about me, and that's just Camaro Guy 12, and I don't know what to say back. And then I would argue with this guy, and I've told the story on the podcast before, but I had a dream not to make everything about myself because I want to promote your book more because I really liked it. I had a dream I met God in heaven, and he said, I want to talk to you about 2 years I'm not happy about. And I was like, oh, my God. Like, I'm getting sent to the principal's office at God. He's unhappy with 2 years. It was the 2 years I argued with people anonymously on the internet. Combined, everything I had ever typed came out
That's
to 2
awesome.
years. And God said,
what a waste of time.
What are you doing?
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Yeah.
And I woke up, and I tried not to, but it's so
That's
hard
a great
not to
message.
bite back,
well,
though.
well, what happened? I mean, when you first got started in comedy, what happened when you? I don't know if you got any bad reviews or people trashed you, but what happened?
Yeah, but it's
What'd you do?
live right there, and I just smacked them. It's like whack-a-mole, really. When
Whack-a-mole.
you're doing stand-up, and you go, "Hey, you suck. You fucking suck. You look at your shirt."
Yeah.
And just everybody goes, "Oh, yeah, that is a stupid shirt,"
Yeah.
or they don't, and you got to go, "Oh,
Got to dig deeper.
yeah, dig deeper."
Try harder. But what about written reviews or things online or whatever? Did that bother you when it first happened?
Never
or?
bothered me when the person, it wasn't their bag. Negative reviews always fascinated me, and I kind of have a glee. I'm not self-flagellating, like, oh, I like when things are bad.
Right.
I like when things are good. I'm wired for good. I'm like when your car gets a flat tire, you freak out. You don't celebrate when the car's running well.
Right.
But I do. That's my.
That's a good way to be, man.
I'm
See?
the optimist. Everything's cool. Why wouldn't it be cool? It's supposed to be cool. The tires are supposed to not lose air. But I would get a review. Well, you know what? Wow, this is hysterical. You just picked my head apart. Fifth degree black belt mindfuck. I was at Caroline's on Broadway, right around Jerry Maguire, and I had gotten off a plane on a red eye to New York. I did press. I did Don Imus. I did Opie and Anthony. And then I did Caroline's that night, same suit that I flew in. And the New York Post reviewer said, what's with the wrinkled suit? Nothing in the review was about my act, which I was so happy about my new hour. Mm-hmm. And it was like, guy takes the stage, looks like he needed a shave, a nap, and maybe an iron. And that was the review. And I was like, what the fuck is that? So yeah, that's something I buried.
Yeah, there you go.
You buried molestation.
That's right.
I buried
wrinkled suit.
Some guy that's reviewing Book of Mormon, and I'm like his slow week.
Yeah. Well, think about it. But see what you just said when we're talking about giving people the tools and how to handle the cyberbullying and everything else. Look at what you just said. Your brain works. I'm always up. Everything's always great. I was supposed to get a flat tire. Everything. Why is it not cool? Look where I live. It could be a torrential downpour with frogs blowing in sideways, but you're like, right on. I'm in a place that gets rain. That's how you're wired. So if somebody tries to break your balls or give you a hard time, you're wired the way you've got your head running, the way you've got it wired. You're like, oh, what's his problem? It's got nothing to do with me. Problem is, a lot of times when all this bullying stuff happens, we think, oh, it's me.
Yeah.
Something wrong with me. Oh, you're right. I suck, or I'm not strong enough to stand up for myself, or I have to take the crap from this guy because I need the money, because I'm a loser, because I didn't do this and I didn't do that. All that crap, that's the stuff that's the worst. It's the worst.
Was it Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements? Who's that guy?
Oh, The Four Agreements.
Don Miguel, John Ruiz. No, John
I know
Ruiz
who
is
you're
the
talking
first
about.
Puerto Rican heavyweight champion. I got my guys mixed up. The Toltec Indian that did The Four Agreements. It's all like when somebody insults you, that's their reality. They're crashing your reality. You can't, if you believe, my friend's daughter is very tall and kids are bullying her in her school last year, calling her shorty. Well, you're not short, so why should that bother you? They're idiots. They're jealous because you're tall and you're beautiful. Like, these are gorgeous kids.
Right.
But it bothered her. And it's this whole, it is amazing. Why does a bully intrinsically know your weak spot? How do they know that when you're walking through a hallway of school, they're a junior, you're a freshman, you've been there 4 days, and you walk by and they go, bedwetter?
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck do they know that?
Well, I don't know if they intrinsically know, but I think they can spot somebody. Because, I mean, everybody gives off an energy. I don't know how much martial arts stuff or, self-development,
I'm big into energy.
Big
Not
into
a lot
energy.
of martial arts.
Everybody gives off
Did
energy.
wrestling in high school. I don't want to brag.
No, wrestling's good, man. It's good
whatever,
for you.
bro. Fifth degree wrestler.
Everybody gives off an energy, right? I mean, you've walked into a room before, and you've walked into the room, and you're like, whoa.
Well, I'm a stand-up comic. I
Yeah.
move energies
exactly.
for a living.
Yeah,
now we're all going to
thinking,
get quiet. Now we're all going to get loud.
Exactly. So you know exactly about
just
it,
work
right?
the
So
buttons,
a bully senses that stuff. I mean, they just, I mean, we are all broadcasting something all the time, and other people pick up on it just like they just do. They just pick up on it. So if you're coming around, like for me, I would walk around staring at my feet, and I was skinny, and I had a big old afro, believe it or not. And remember Greatest American Hero, William Catt?
Yeah, you look
fro?
like him?
Yeah, I had him.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, I'm walking on it right on. Yeah, I had that hair, and and I was in band, so of course, total geek. And I didn't make eye contact. Everybody shuffling along, right? So immediately they're like, "Oh, well, he looks like he's going to be fun to pick on." And then maybe they say bedwetter, and oh, he didn't get upset. That didn't work. Booger eater. Oh, he didn't like that one. Okay, I'm gonna pick on him for that because it's fun.
We were having this. Who was I having this? Was it Jerry O'Connell? We were having this conversation on this podcast. Like, when bullies can micromanage the insult into a one-syllable word. I know it was Jen Kirkman. Like, they would say to her something like curfew, like one word. Like, they'll take. I remember this kid in my high school, Louis Perillo, and his father, who was a cop, like a well-respected Essex County sheriff cop, and a muscle-bound cop, came to pick Louis Perillo, and maybe a legitimate businessman, if you know what I mean.
The sanitation business?
Yeah, came to pick up, but he was a real cop, and he came to pick Louis Perillo up, who was like a baseball star. He was a good kid, but his pants were real high.
Right.
Like, he had super high pants. Just an old-school Italian guy.
Right.
And, like, the next day, Daddy's home. Daddy's home.
Daddy's home.
From not even your dad has high pants. Now, this kid gets bullied the next 2 years just because his dad fucking picked him up.
high pants,
Like,
wow.
how do they sniff that out? This kid wasn't giving out, hey, if you talk to me about my dad, it's going to bother me energy. All he did was play shortstop. How? Like, it is like, is bullying a talent?
It could be.
A disgusting talent?
I don't know. It's we talk about, people give off the energy, but, I even said in the book, there's always going to be racists and bigots and assholes and the people that just thrive on other people's misery or messing with other people. It's what they do. And they're always going to be there. So the key is, all right, you stumble across one, or if that kind of person, saw daddy's pants too high, and the next day you're like, oh, this is funny. I'm going to pick on this kid about dad's pants.
Daddy's home.
That's this guy's thing. Well, now it's like, well, what are you going to do about it? We got to get prepared for it. We got to be strong enough to deal with it. Or once it starts, it's like, okay, well, now how am I going to handle it? Because they're always going to be there. I remember, I forget who said it. I think it was Tony Robbins, but they're always going to be there. That's one of my major belly aches is instead of focusing on, well, how do you stop bullying? How do you change the behavior? How can we all be as a community get together and go, oh, bullying's wrong and everything? Everybody freaking knows bullying's wrong. Everybody knows that. Instinctively, as soon as you see it, you know it's wrong.
I love that chapter of the book.
You don't need a community to tell you.
It's not going away, you write.
Yeah, no.
It is not going anywhere.
It's been around for the strong will always prey on the weak. You know, back in the day when we were dragging knuckles, somebody had a club, the other guy didn't have a club, that guy had food, bang, now that's my food.
That's why animals have gone extinct.
Hello, it's genetics. It's in our genes, right? So instead of, Lady Gaga and all the celebrities are doing as much work as they can. Raising awareness is fine, but me focusing on changing your behavior is stupid. It's a non-starter.
I go to Lady Gaga concerts because I respect the shit out of her.
She's awesome.
And when the people come out, I pound the shit out of them.
There you go.
And I call them nerds.
See?
I call them monsters and nerds because she would call them.
How's that awareness working for you, right? Yeah.
No, I'm very aware. I'm very aware of bullying, and I choose to exercise my right to pound the shit out of Lady Gaga concert goers.
Right on, especially when they dress up like her.
I think the $1 million. I have an obligation to the listener, and that is to ask you, though, well, what the fuck? If I walk home a certain route every way, or I go a different way, there's those 3 kids that sit on that banister on my way home, and every day they pot shot me, they push me, they say, "What do you go?" There's 3 on 1. Right. What am I supposed to do? Now, you and I would say to my sons privately. I wouldn't tell my wife, perhaps. I would eventually tell her after. I would see how it worked out.
Yeah, tell her after. Good call.
But you have to headbutt this person in the face, and you have to make such a scene and such a situation that people go, don't even go near this guy.
He's crazy.
Ever.
Yeah, she's nuts.
Don't sit next to her in school because she fucking bit a guy's nut. Like, it's not like, get away from me and shoving someone. You got to say, get away from me, shove him, grab him. Bite their cheek, spit it out, bite their ball back.
You got to go Tasmanian devil on them.
Exactly. To me, that's, I think, the solution to bullying. But you're saying in your book, Bullies Suck, that's available on Amazon if you guys want to buy it. I liked it. You're saying there are so many things to do before it gets to that.
That's correct. There's so many to do before that.
And I found that a little implausible, William Huff Jr. I'll be honest with you. I don't know in Jersey public school if me having a confident tone of voice and looking people in the eye and doing the things that you say in this book, I'm not sure it's going to work. But you're telling me 5th degree black belt, former U.S. Marine, it's worth a shot because it does work.
Yeah, it is worth a shot for a bunch of reasons. Number one, you don't know if it's not going to work or not until you try it. Number 2, you can try the look them in the eye and the strong tone of voice and accelerate that all the way to Tasmanian Devil within 30 seconds or so if you need to. I mean, it's a sliding scale. If I start to talk to you or if I stand up and I look you strong and I go, hey, we got a problem, what's going on? Why are you biking my balls?
I'm sorry, we're out of time.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
no,
sorry.
that's not going to work.
You just freaked me out.
So if we start that, right, and I see within the first 30 seconds or so that, hey, it's starting to work, it's like, okay, cool, we can work this out. But if I see that it's not working and then it starts to escalate, well, now, all right, well, again, it's what's the saying that I put in there? I don't want to teach, like, I got a daughter. She's 3.5. My son's going to be born in the next couple weeks, right?
Yes.
I'm going to make my daughter, she's adorable. She's awesome. She's crazy like her dad. But I'm going to make her vicious. I mean, she's going to be the sweetest thing in the world. But if you cross her, she's going to tie you up in 4 knots.
Yeah.
Without blinking an eye. Because I don't want her to have to fight, but I want her to have the willingness and the confidence to do it. Because you're right, in the Jersey public school system, you might start trying to standard eye contact. I'm going to talk strongly to you and try to work this out. And within 5 seconds, they ball up their fists and punch you in the face. Okay, well, now what? You can't freeze. You can't cry. You can't run because now it's on.
Yeah, I was told by my parents, tell the teacher.
Nah, that's a terrible idea.
That's the worst thing.
You tell the teacher, but that's in lieu. That's along with everything else that you did yourself to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Telling the teacher is like, I got a problem. You need to fix this.
I've done all the things in William Huff Jr.'s book called Bullies Suck. They haven't worked. I don't want to bite someone's nut and gouge their eye out and bite their cheek. Either you do something or I'm going to do something. Telling the teacher should be a last resort because when you tell the teacher, you're Mark, you're a snitch, you're a rat.
Yeah.
Whole family rats.
That's right. And telling the teacher that it's fine. Tell the teacher, follow all the rules.
The
that
teacher
society
got bullied
has
too.
played.
Why did these fucking teach
Well,
him?
they get threatened with lawsuits all the time, so they can't touch students or do anything. But the idea is, no, you tell the teacher because you do want to fill in the blanks of all the stuff you're supposed to do because you got to do the right thing, right?
Have you tried talking to Mr. Venezia
well,
and
how
telling
does
him
that
to
make
leave?
you feel? Yeah, that's kind of. Did you?
Why
see
don't you tell him to leave you alone? Because he'll punch the shit out of me.
Yeah, because he's 10 times my size. Did you see the documentary Bully that came out last year by Weinstein and Hirsch?
Yeah, it made me feel worse when it was over.
Oh, no, I couldn't sleep the weekend after I watched it for a lot of reasons.
I thought it was going to be uplifting at the
end.
No,
it was horrible.
These kids took their lives back, and it was
no, the one kid did. The one kid did. He said, yeah, once I fought back, they didn't pick on me. He got like 3 seconds in the movie. Everything else was everybody
kid with
else.
The giant lips and the glasses, that sweet boy that got
Fish
bullied.
face, they called him, yeah.
Oh,
I love that kid.
I wanted to adopt him.
You know what pissed me off was the dad giving him the speech about, you need to stand up for yourself because they're going to pick on your sister. What's wrong with you? You don't have any self-respect, right? The dad's ripping him. And then doesn't say, and here's how you do it.
Yeah.
Here's how you stand up for yourself. This is what you do. Here's how you fight back. He doesn't do that. He just rips the kid.
Lead with the jab.
I just wanted to kill the dad. I'm like, right? And hit him with my book is what I wanted to do. But where were we? I got all excited now. What were we talking about?
Tell the teacher is the last resort.
Tell the teacher, yeah. Yeah, you do that so that you're filling in the blanks. But the reality is, it's up to us. We have to be responsible. We've got to take our power back. If the teacher does come and fix it, right, they're only going to fix it in the classroom right there. And then as soon as you're out the door, back of the head, hey, you snitch, pulling the book bags, all that other stuff.
Yeah, well, I remember kids losing teeth, getting hit in the face with those metal lunch boxes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you did that now, they would put you in jail.
Oh, yeah.
In fifth grade.
You'd get sued and everything else. Yeah.
I mean, I remember Russell Hanson getting blasted in the face with somebody's lunchbox, with those metal lunchboxes that say, like, the British are coming, like those like Yankee Doodle cartoons.
Oh, yeah. I think
or the
I had a
NFL helmet one was the best one of all time.
Speed Racer, I think.
The OG NFL helmets.
Oh, yeah.
That's the great. That's the all-time greatest lunchbox.
Yeah, right.
Fuck you if you disagree with me. You're wrong.
I actually had the OG NFL helmet curtains in the matching bedspread. Remember the red curtains with all the helmets? Oh yeah, I had those for years as a kid, man.
Any kid with curtains is cool.
Yeah, come on.
Let's go to your house. You got curtains. Yeah, but I remember Russell Hanson lost teeth and split lip and stitches, and it was the next day. The guy that did it was in school because Russell Hanson knew if he told, he's a dead man.
That's not. Yeah, that wouldn't fly today.
Are people in your experiences? I mean, because you studied so much, because this is the battle that's been going on in literature for years. Lord of the Flies, whatever you want to do. Are we inherently good or are we inherently evil? Lord of the Flies, we're inherently evil. If you give us enough space, enough time, and enough power, if you give us a conch to hold where it's our turn to talk, eventually we're going to start fighting over that conch, and we're going to start fucking. Eventually, Piggy, the kid with asthma, is getting fucked up on that island because we can.
Right.
Is that really who we are? Because you wrote a book. You didn't write a book like how to deal with things when everything's cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the more I bob along to this life, I think to myself, maybe we are inherently assholes, and then the outliers are the people that are truly good. That's what makes them stick out in our lives, and that's that teacher's name that you remember.
Mr. Matthews. Yep.
Like, you remember that guy's name.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was just good in a sea of shit. And the more I bob along in this life, and I live in this bubble on the West Side, and I have to dip my toe back into reality to go to work and stuff, and deal with a corporate ladder and all that stuff, you go, wow, these people are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, this is a crazy place. Are we inherently good, or are we inherently evil? What's your opinion? 5th degree black belt.
I think we're inherently instinctive. I think we're the product of our genes. And, when we're hungry, we want to eat. And when we're tired, we want to sleep. And when we want to procreate, we want to procreate. When I'm thirsty, I want to be thirsty. I mean, we gravitate towards pleasure and we run from pain. And usually we'll run from pain more than we'll gravitate towards pleasure. And the only thing that puts a throttle on all of those desires, from us just walking around, humping and eating and sleeping all the time, is society and education and accepted normal behaviors, and what is proper and what's not, just built over all these thousands and thousands of years. I don't think we're one way or the other. I just think we are, and depending upon your environment is going to depend upon which one you are. Because one thing that is true, it is next to impossible, not impossible, but next to it, to overcome your environment. I mean, if you live in just a flea-infested shit mental place, man, it's unless you get it.
Small said.
Unless you get somewhere else and around other people that can help change that. I mean, it's not going to change.
Biggie Small said, either you're slinging rock or you got a wicked jump shot. That's true. There's no way out.
Yeah, it's true.
But it's next to impossible to escape your environment.
Next to, I mean, it's hard. I mean, you can do it. People do it all the time. You hear rags to riches stories all the time. It can be done, but it's not easy. It's just like you said. Well, yeah, I'm going to challenge you on this. I need the check. I'm the letter carrier, and it's all I know. Well, I didn't say it was going to be easy. It's not impossible. It's going to be hard, but it's, I mean, where I am today and where I came from are just, I wouldn't in a million years would have thought I'd wind up here. But one of the reasons why I did is because I left where I grew up, and I joined the Marines. And I went all the way around the world, and I met all these people, and then that opened up another door to an opportunity, which opened up another door to an opportunity.
Bullying in the Marine Corps?
Bullying in the Marine Corps? No, not really.
Once you get through basic training, everyone's just been indoctrinated. And
yeah, recruit training totally sucks, but it's also cool. But once you're in it, once you're in the Marines, I mean, it's like anything else. There's jerks, but you just deal with it. And in the Marine Corps, too, I mean, when I was in, it was a little different. You had a problem with a guy, you'd be like, hey, you got a problem? Let's go over here and fix it. And you'd go fix it, and then that'd be it.
Yeah.
But it's a little different now. And that's
now, if you lose that fight, when you're the guy that says, let's go outside and fix it, when you lose that fight, is that your spot on the totem pole for the rest of the gig?
No, that's a good point, because remember what you talked about earlier, about the kids, picking on you, there's 3 of them or whatever. I don't know about you, but I know the couple times that I got in a fight, and when in the Marines, same thing. A lot of times the bully's just picking on you to see if you're going to stand up for yourself. And if you do and you get in a fight, even if one wins or the other wins, or it's a tie, for lack of a better word, you wind up being friends or at least having respect for the guy. And now the dynamic has changed because you're like, whoa, that guy stood up for himself. He hit me in the face.
Yeah, Sam Sheridan, good friend, author, friend of the podcast, wrote a great book, Fighter's Heart, and he got really unexpectedly pulled into dogfighting in Brazil after spending he went to a Muay Thai gym, had a pro fight, and did wrestling with Dan Gable. Great guy, lives right down the street.
Right on.
And he got pulled into like dogfighting, and like these 2 chapters of his book about dogfighting, and it almost became the love affair between handler and dog was something that no one knows about. And he was very careful of choosing his words because he knew the backlash would be immense because we love dogs in this country. But like these guys sleep with they lay down with the dogs and they're cared for. The dog never bites a person because you got to reach in and split it up. But what makes a successful dog, fighting dog, is if it's game. Not if it wins, if it just never stops turning around to go back. Right. It could lose. But as long as it's called game.
Game, right.
As long as it's game, it still will make money and generate revenue. So I guess what you're saying in the military and in the Marines, if a guy goes, you want to take this outside? If you get your shit kicked out of you 10 out of 10 times, they're going to stop asking you to go outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you go, I don't give a kick my ass. I don't give a shit because I'm going to land one. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, think about it. What Chael Sonnen, what I say, hands up, chin down, walk towards a guy and kick his ass.
Yeah, but he didn't. He didn't, though.
He didn't, but
It's
he
a
got
bad
paid.
example.
But he got paid, right? And isn't he the biggest pay-per-view draw? And he'll probably get more. Why? Because he's game.
Yeah.
Hey, you need a guy in short notice? I'll do it.
Chael
I'll
and I
fight
go
anybody.
back and forth a lot.
You know?
He knows how to sell tickets.
Oh,
that's
my
for
God,
sure.
he does. He's great.
What are their two biggest myths when it comes to bullying? It says right here. Two biggest lies when it comes to dealing with bullies.
Yeah, just ignore it and it'll go away and tell the teacher.
Those are the two. So we covered that.
Yeah, those are the two.
You know, it's funny. We said when I read the Amazon ad for jmoore.com, you click the Amazon banner. The guy, I say it all the time when people say I'm going to quit smoking. I go, hey, you know what? Let yourself have something.
Right.
Like, I know you can't drink vodka anymore and smoke a ton of dope because you have babies at home. You know what? Go outside, have a cigarette on your patio. You've earned it. It's life.
Yeah, right.
And I see a lot of old people smoking. My grandmother was, my grandparents.
No, my grandparents too, yeah.
But I've never seen like a 300-pound guy over 65 years old. And that guy just emailed me and said, you know what? I'm going to start working out because of what you said. Being fat, you very specifically in your book have many pages carved out. You cannot be fat. You cannot walk around in the United States of America with a muffin top and be fat, or else you are going to get beat up. The end. And you're doing a disservice to your children if you allow them to get obese. The parents are obese. They feed the kids when they want to eat. They give them goddamn grape soda. There shouldn't be a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola at the dinner table. A glass of tap water will do fine. And I commend you, William Huff Jr., for finally saying, if your kid's fat, it's because you suck as a fucking parent, and your kid's going to get the shit beaten out of him, lose the weight, and watch the bully go away.
Yeah, well done. I mean, how many fat kids have skinny parents? You don't see it that much. I mean, you just don't.
I know one.
You know one?
But he had one. No, he had one. He had one skinny parent in high school. You want to hear a great bully story?
Yeah.
And then you have to do the majority of the talking as we round third.
All right, you got it.
Pete Bush was one of the greatest wrestlers my high school had ever seen. He wrestled like 119, little guy, and he was almost albino. In hindsight, he really actually might have been because he had real thick Coke bottle glasses.
Right.
But people don't realize albinos, they can't really see well because their rods and cones are fucked up from being an albino.
I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know
you never
that.
seen one without crazy glasses, or maybe you have. I don't know what you've seen in your life. You've been in the goddamn Marines.
Yeah.
Been all over the world.
I could tell you stories about the Philippines, but let's move on.
Yeah. You tried to hang yourself while masturbating with you and Carradine. That was a good run you guys had. 2 men enter, 1 man
That
leave.
was just such a, oh, man. That was a rough weekend.
So Pete Bush was getting bullied, and he wrestled at 119, and he's milk white albino, and he had a landscaping company, and he had a scholarship to go to West Point. He was a brilliant guy. Nerd. Looked like Fish Face.
Look like Fish Face?
Looked just like, holy shit, looked just like Fish Face from the movie Bully.
Right.
But at 119, and he wrestled, and he was getting fucking bullied by these Guidos, and then one day he snaps in the hallway, and he just fucking dropped. Bah, 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 like jab, jab, hook, jab, jab, hook, jab, jab, hook. And the other guy grabs his shoulder, and Pete just fucking pulls his head down, pops him back up, shoots a double leg, picks him up, and fucking slams him onto the cement floor and sits on his chest and says, "Stop fucking with me." He goes crazy.
Right.
And we're all sitting around laughing our balls off in wrestling practice that afternoon, the next afternoon. Thursday, we're laughing our dicks off. And finally, my coach goes, "I don't know what the fuck you guys..." And first of all, he said, "Fuck." And we're like, "Oh, my God." Coach Sauer.
Right.
Because I don't know what the fuck you guys are laughing at, because now Pete's suspended. He's at home.
Right.
But Pete had a 600-pound mom and like a 100-pound dad.
Wow.
That's so we had one skinny.
The one person.
But he wasn't, but
Yeah.
he wasn't fat. So it
Yeah.
doesn't, but anyway, it's still a good story.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I don't know what the fuck you guys are laughing at. There's not a guy in this room that can't win a fist fight. What do you think you're doing in here? You're learning how to defend yourselves." All he did is what we do off the mat. He did it off the mat, what we do on. And it wasn't until that moment, my junior year in high school, I realized I've been learning how to defend myself.
Yeah.
I thought I was learning wrestling that happens in this big circle on these mats that we unroll and have to pine sol. That's the power of pine sol, baby.
That's right.
I had no idea. They tricked me into teaching me to fucking stand up for myself.
Wrestling goes back 5,000 years,
Shoot
man.
the
It's one
double,
of the
throw the
original
headlock,
martials.
and crank that shit and choke him out. All right. Where did you were in Thailand in the Marine Corps?
Let's see. No, I was in Japan and the Middle East.
Where in the Middle East? You can't say.
No, we did. I was in the first Gulf War.
That seemed like
Forever ago.
of all. Not really. I remember it very
Yeah.
well. Of all the wars we've had, that one seemed the most like a block party.
Yeah.
Like just rope off the streets.
It was
We're
over
gonna
quick.
put picnic tables out in the streets. Everyone's gonna get shit faced. We're gonna ride on the hoods of the car. All the kids can ride in the back of the pickup trucks. No one's gonna bother us. We'll get home soon enough.
Yeah, it was over. It was over quick. I remember being there, and we were all freaked out. I was like, "Man, is this going to be like World War II?
Chemicals,
Are we going to
man.
be here 4 years?" And then
Yeah.
the corpsmen are giving us shots, going, "Look, this stuff isn't approved, but it's all we've got for what we're facing. So if you don't want to take it, you don't have to." And we're like, "No, I'll take it. Go ahead, give me the
Because
shot."
you guys thought you were gonna get nerve gas.
Every day we were worried about it. We were getting, they were launching scuds at us every day. Gas alarms are going off. We're getting in the gear 3, 4, 5 times a day, middle of the night, all the time. So yeah. But it was quick. I mean, that was a definition of an ass whooping because that thing was over in like a month. I mean, it wasn't even close.
And it's supposed to be like the 4th largest military in the world. But now you realize, because I work in show business, you got to hype the show to make sure people watch it.
He could sell that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to step away from that discussion because
Yeah.
I don't want people to say I'm some typical liberal douchebag, which they've all been blocked.
They've all been blocked.
Are you on Twitter?
I am, but not a real lot.
All right. But they can get you at your book, obviously, William Huff Jr., Bullies Suck. Just a great title. Just finally somebody wrote a book, Bullies Suck.
Yeah. I got a lot of heat for that title from people, too. They're like, "Oh, it's too controversial. You can't use it." And I'm like, "Nah, I got to use it." Bill Handel,
Yeah.
on the law,
Yeah.
he loved it. He loved it. He
Bill
heard,
Ha-
it.
that's-
He heard the
he's
title.
the-
He's like, "Oh, my God, this is the
He's
best
the
title
important
ever."
one.
What's that?
Bill Handel's the important one. That's the guy you need to like it. Of
Right.
all the people that think it sucks, Bill Handel's top of the heap.
Bill Handel's he's salt of the earth guy, and when
But I
he
mean, as
heard-
far
when-
as listeners and stuff, he's
he
the
was,
guy.
He was great. He's great. Nice guy.
What was I fucking just going to ask you? It's making me crazy. Do you think, I think this, and I have no vested interest in any dojo or anything, this is not how I make money or anything like that as far as martial arts. I think if you're a parent, you have an obligation to put your kid into a martial art or wrestling or boxing.
Yeah, it's just like swimming. I mean, they got to know how to swim and they got to know how to fight. That's just the way it is. And again, they have to know how to fight. Again, not because you want them to fight, but you want them to have the willingness to, and the ability to.
Right.
Because, like we talked about, this stuff isn't going away. I mean, you probably run into bullies in show business all the time, and you've learned how to stand up for yourself or talk to them or do whatever you need to do so that you can get what you want when dealing with these assholes.
I still go home early.
Yeah, right.
You guys
still
are
take
great.
the side
Thanks a
gate.
lot.
Yeah,
Like, I'll be outside selling merch. I just go to my car
You
and
go to the
leave.
back, yeah.
I'm an exceptional exiter.
Yeah. So you've learned how to do that. You've learned how to deal with it. I mean, we're going to be dealing with this. So if you teach your kid how to swim, you got to teach them how to stand up for themselves. It's just
Yeah. I remember going to school with that knot in my stomach, like, oh
yeah.
fucking Tony Cardasco's still looking for me.
Yep.
I remember all their names.
I remember mine too.
Who was
His name was Ariel.
You got bullied by a guy named Ariel?
Ariel,
You
yeah.
were worse off than I thought.
Yeah, he was the youngest
I
of
had
a bunch
Tony
of brothers.
Cardasco.
Yeah, yeah, Ariel.
A
He
big
was the
fat
youngest,
slob Guido.
youngest
You
of a bunch
had
of
Ariel.
brothers, and he was always getting pummeled by his brothers. So he was always
Oh.
looking for someone else to pummel, and he picked me.
And he picked the greatest
Yeah.
American hero for
Yeah, he picked me. Yeah.
And I made a commitment to myself when my first son was born. He will never have that feeling.
Yeah.
And he
Amen.
will. You train your kids to study something, so when somebody goes, when they start peppering you with that bully garbage, they go, no, that's not how this is going to go down.
Right.
And our mutual friend Jim Herzog has the Ultimate Self-Defense Studio around the corner, and my son Jackie's a green belt with a brown stripe. This kid's 10 years old, and I think it's amazing. You regret the things in life you don't do.
Yeah.
All the times in high school, we're like, we're going to Koei-Kon Karate in Caldwell, New Jersey, man. You get jackets. They had like pools that
The
like
jackets.
satin
Letterman
jackets.
jackets, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, we're going to Koei-Kon Karate, man, on Bloomfield Avenue. It's going to be great. And you never go, and you never go. And then even now, I think, if I started when he started, when he was 4, I'd be a fucking green belt with a brown stripe.
At least.
And I'm like, yeah, probably a brown belt, because I'm
Yeah,
not
right.
5.
Right.
And I could put in more hours, and I would just stay up all night practicing like a loon whenever I
Right.
had insomnia. And it's unbelievable. And like today, I should just go to the dojo and go, all right, sign me up, because at 45, I'll be a green belt.
Right.
It's just astounding to me how often we don't do things that we think we should do.
Oh no, we all do it, and it's no shortage of people. I mean, even though I'm kind of semi-retired from teaching, there's no shortage of people I meet all the time that, especially adults, are like, "Man, I wish I would have learned martial arts. I've always wanted to do that, and I just never."
And I
found
know
the
your
time,"
answer, I bet.
or, and
Your answer is, why don't you?
Yeah. It's never too late to start. I mean, I started in my 20s. I wish I would have started as a kid, but, I started in my 20s. It worked out for me. I got a grandmother her black belt. She was 63 when she got her black belt. Susan Wright. I'll never forget her. She was tough, man. She wasn't talented.
Your grandmother got a black belt?
No, not my grandmother. I taught a grandmother.
63?
Yeah, she was 63. Susan Wright.
Now, let me ask you a question. I've had a long-standing argument and debate with friends for years about girl black belts.
Mm-hmm.
They're at a disadvantage.
Yes.
And I don't think, and I'm not sexist or anything, this is a complete pragmatic, practical view of the situation, if I'm an analytical eye. A female, and you can correct me, obviously, a girl, a 25-year-old woman, 30-year-old, let's say 30-year-old woman gets her black belt. 30-year-old man gets his black belt. There is no way those two are equal.
Just by the laws of physics, they're not equal. One's heavier than the other. One can generate more force, the whole deal.
And I firmly believe, having not taken martial arts to any significance or significant degree, if just a barroom brawl broke out, tell me I'm crazy, I'm dropping the fucking chick that's a black belt. I'll tell you. Let me tell you why. You and I grew up getting punched in the face.
Right.
You and I grew up taking it. No one ever goes up to a girl and just goes, bang, in the fucking face and stands over him and goes, you fucking pussy, because you go to fucking jail.
Not unless it's her older brother, because that's what I did to my sister. That's why she's so tough.
That's nice.
Yeah, I was nice to her. I was
you
terrible
go to
brother.
a very special school if you do that to a girl.
Yeah,
but
right
guys, every guy listening to this podcast has a half dozen memories of just guy like, fucking stop hitting me in the face. I've obviously lost.
Yeah.
So my theory is the girl black belt, they spar, but it's a very controlled environment and all that. I'm not taking anything away from a female that has their black belt. I've doubled in stunts and stuff by many that could kick the shit out of me in a dojo. It's like, okay, go. But I think if just a barroom brawl, I sound like the most ignorant, arrogant douche in the world. but you know what? I got to put my name on it, bro.
Go ahead.
If the shit hits the fan, if we're at a concert and a fucking fight breaks out and some girl fucking grabs me by the hair, bang, it's over.
Right.
That's how I feel.
Well,
should I just go try it?
Well, what's her training like? I mean, is she game or not? I remember there was
all I know is she's a black belt.
Right.
That's the only parameters of discussion.
Is she game, and does she know what she's doing?
If Adam Carolla gets his black belt, and I go to drop Adam Carolla, he's going to take that shit in his orbital socket, and then he's going to snap my arm off and beat me with it. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
I don't know Adam Carolla that well, but...
Well, he's the guy that grew up in the valley getting pummeled.
Yeah.
And then he learned to box, and he's a thing. But
does he know how to box?
Oh, he's incredible. Comedy's what he does worst. He's the first to say it. He grew up roofing, construction, and boxing.
Wow, good for him. That's cool.
It's so bizarre. When you see him in his movie The Hammer, you're like, oh, my God.
Oh, I have to go see it now. I'd like to see it.
It's great.
Box.
You'll love it.
I'd like to see
you'll love it. And you'll be stunned that guy has been hiding that.
Wow. That's amazing.
Female black belt.
We'll get back to the female
black belt. Not dojo.
Yeah,
not in a sparring session. Just a barroom brawl breaks out. I'm killing her.
Well, give it a shot. See what happens.
Am I crazy?
I think it depends upon the girl. I think it depends. I mean, let's be fair. I think it depends upon the guy too. I know
not
a lot
Ronda
of guys.
Rousey.
Yeah, no. I know a lot of guys that are quote unquote black belts that don't take getting hit very well, and they're black belts for God's sakes. And they did sparring and rolling and all that stuff, but they just some people get punched in the face and they wince or they cry or they go oh and they freeze, and other people get punched in the face and go. What? I'm going to kill you.
The Diaz brothers.
Yeah, like the Diaz brothers, right?
Care. They just said that on UFC 162. Hoist Gracie had a great expression. You punch a black belt in the face, he's a brown belt. You punch him in the face again, he's a green belt. You punch him in the face again, he's a blue belt.
Yeah, that's not a bad saying. I would agree with that. And I have known some girls that I knew. Okay, if a fight went down and you got hit in the face, you would crumble. And then I knew other girls, okay, if someone punches you in the face, you're going to try to stab his eye out with your high heel.
Yeah.
I think it just depends. I think it just depends.
What do we do bullying-wise? Why can't you just tell your kid to kick the shit out of the bully? Was that for legal ramifications for the book? Because I kept waiting for that chapter in Bully's Son. Train your kid.
I am going to train my kids. Like I said, I'm going to train my daughter and my son to be vicious.
But it's not in the step-by-step playbook that's in front of me on how to deal with a bully.
Isn't it the chapter when there's no other choice, be firstest with a mostest? I think it's the last one. She's nodding.
Yeah, but
she
last.
remembers it. Yeah, it's last. Of
Like
course
I had
it's
to
the
get all
last
the way
one.
to the last.
Yeah. Because I mean, is the first answer to all our problems to punch it in the face and get
To a
violent?
bully,
No.
yes.
Yeah, for
To a bully?
No, I would rather have my kids, like, I'm going to teach my kids, look, you do the right thing in the right way for the right reasons. When you're dealing with bullying, here's the process, here's the checklist, kind of. You start with this and you get down to this, and this is the most drastic, but you start here. And again, I mean, that's dealing with life. That's dealing with problems. You have a problem. Somebody crashed your car. All right, well, you first start trying to talk to the person, then you try to work it out, then you try to get the insurance company to do it. If that's not working out, now you got to go get your vicious junkyard dog of an attorney.
The car just got
right.
demolished.
I mean, just like if someone,
Corey.
if you have a business deal with somebody that goes south, the first thing you do isn't to go get your vicious junkyard attorney and sue their ass off for everything that they own. When a simple phone call going, hey, can you fix that, please? And they go, oh yeah, sure. Okay, well, you didn't have to go all the way to that. You didn't start over here and work your way. It's the same thing with bullying. I mean, I don't want my kid to be the bully. Yeah, what happens if the first time someone messes with them, they mop the floor with them, and then they're like, well, that felt pretty good.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, now they're the one that's out there. That's not going to happen. That can't happen.
I don't know that feeling.
Yeah, I don't either.
And I need my listener to know, I did this with when my priest was here, Father Willie. I did it with Damien Eccles when he was here. He did 18 years on death row. I don't want my kids smashing people in the face and bullies. I am a complete subscriber to be kind, figure it out, do what you can, get out of the guy's way. Just don't go near him. But I think I have a duty as a podcaster and interviewer to play devil's advocate and think of what the guy in his car, listening at his earbud at his cubicle, is thinking. And that is, fucking smash him in the face.
Right.
Because let's face it, my audience, they hit their wives. So I have to really appeal to the base. It's like running for office.
I understand.
You just get the base.
Tell them what you got to do.
Rally
them
them
tell
up.
them.
And the way JJ was going toe-to-toe with that fucking, he told that 50-degree blow, you'd tell you what I would do.
Yeah.
But that's not what you do. You can't just go smashing bullies in the
don't
face.
Go right. No,
because
that's the last
you're gonna
resort.
First of all, I don't think people know enough. You are going to break your hand. The fist is a horrible weapon.
Yeah, you could.
One of the worst weapons. The worst weapon. All the little tiny bones in your fingers and why would you ever use it doesn't make any sense.
Most time people they punch wrong, and then they hit him in the forehead.
They break all their fingers and wrists. And people always make fun of like sisters in the hood. They take off their shoe and start beating you with it.
Yeah,
they're
smart.
Yeah, all those press-on nails
yeah.
are still there.
Yeah.
What do you have to do to go from 4th-degree black belt to 5th-degree black belt?
That's just a lot of time, a lot of training, working out.
But what's the how does the training? Honestly, I have no idea, and it fascinates me because I would think once I hit my black belt, I would just hang that shit up and just rest on my laurels and just do curls in my front yard with my black belt and like board shorts.
Yeah, right on. Well, is there a master comedian level? I don't know, but you've been doing comedy so long. Why is your comedy better now than it was 5 or 10 years ago? It's not like
repetition,
it went. Yeah, and your timing is that much better, and your feel of the room is that much better. And now, because you're older and you've got kids and more experience, your material's a little deeper, and it's milliseconds or millimeters, and it's no different with 4th and 5th degree black belt, no matter what the martial arts style you talk about. Now it's just fine tuning and removing, and now you're just a blip quicker than you were before, or. My footwork's better. I can tell when you're going to move because I can see your weight better. It's minute stuff, and I think that's what it is, a mastery of all things. You get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter.
It's fascinating to me that you just admitted 4th and 5th. There's really no difference.
Yeah, it just gets in time.
Bullies suck. This is good for parents, for teachers, and if you have a kid. What I like about it is you write well, but it's spaced in a way to make it very palatable. Like my 10-year-old son could read this in its entirety. And even like, don't be Captain Grumpy Pants. That's something he would laugh at and go, at the workplace. I really enjoyed it. And there's Emerson quotes. And there's there's specific chapters about girls, about being the overweight thing really hit me like, thank you for saying this, because we are the fattest fucking country in the world, because all we do is, but I know why we're so fat. It tastes so good.
Yes, and there's so much of it.
Yeah. When you drive past Jack in the Box, like Wendy's, the Baconator, Oh, just
yeah.
driving through the desert on your way to Vegas, you
Or
go,
sourdough
oh my
Jack,
God.
please.
Yeah. Sourdough Jack's pretty tight. I challenge anybody, if you want to know what it's like, the feeling of going to school and being bullied, I want you to drive to Vegas, and while you're still in L.A., I want you to stop at Wendy's and get a Baconator and get a venti black coffee from Starbucks. And right around Barstow, that feeling in your stomach, that's what it feels like going to school. When you know you're going to get bullied every day. You wake up with that feeling of needing to empty the suitcase.
Yeah, right on.
And get after it. And how did you meet Jim Herzog, my son's sensei? Great guy.
Well, we met in the martial arts like 20 years ago.
But that's very broad. Met in the martial arts.
Yeah, we were both training in the same place, and I met him at a workout because he's about the size of a small trailer. And I remember going, number one, who is he? And why is he taking martial arts? Because he could eat like 3 of us if he wanted to.
The great white gorilla that lives in the woods.
Enormous.
Yeah, he is one of the larger men I've
ever
ever seen.
It's like engulfs my entire head when he puts on top. It's like ridiculous. And then you see he's a 3rd-degree black belt, and when he's moving, you're like, a guy that big shouldn't be able to move that well. And
my son Jackie goes, I said, which sensei do you prefer? Because Sensei Davis is a brother, lives downtown. He has an actual afro.
Oh, right on. So you have one of those black combs with the fist?
Yes.
Yeah, right on.
And he'll say like, come on, man.
I had one of those when I had a fro. That's
why.
Come
on, man. What are you people on dope? Come on now. And I'll quote Wu-Tang like, man, you think you got the mad crew up on the hill. Y'all ain't on the ground. And he just runs them ragged and makes it fun. And then Sensei Herzog just took over for Jackie when he got his brown stripe on his green belt. And I wanted to know, because their styles seemed very different. Because Sensei Herzog, he's in charge, and then every once in a while, he does something so gentle and so sweet, and you go, oh, my God. Yeah. I let your size completely.
He's a big teddy bear.
Yeah. And my son said, he gave a very long explanation that I will make very brief. Sensei Davis I was very surprised. He said Sensei Davis was very strict, and I thought it would be the other way around. And he goes, he didn't mention Sensei Herzog's teaching. He said, Sensei Herzog, he's like a giant. He's like a giant, My son talks like Norm Macdonald. Yeah, that guy's like a giant, Those giant hands. Oh, my God. He goes, I go, yeah, he's a big man. He goes, yes, but when he's doing martial arts, Daddy, he's very graceful.
Wow.
Jim Herzog, graceful.
2 words, 3 words you don't hear in a sentence together usually.
They always say he moves well for a big man. Real well.
What is that our moms used to say? Oh, he's not fat. He's husky.
He's husky. He's
husky.
big boned.
Big boned, yeah.
Dinosaurs are big boned. Put down the cupcakes and get out and run around for crying out loud.
Dinosaurs are big boned.
Holy smokes. Big boned. I've been through the X-ray machine at the airport. It's all the same fucking bone.
My bones are screaming for mercy, right? Because
your
so
phalanges
heavy.
and metatarsals are way bigger than mine.
Yeah, right on.
I appreciate you coming through. And this happened very quickly and fun, and it was easy. And I'm glad. It's always nice when you meet new old friends. William Huff Jr., the book is Bully Suck. How to Stop Bullying and Cyberbullying at School, at Work, and at Home. The cyberbullying chapter is the one I think parents are really going to dig headfirst into. And just a great guy and a veteran, for crying out loud.
That's right.
Support our veterans.
Right on.
Thank you for coming through.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
More stories. Put your name on it.